All right. Okay, it's film class week 11, part 6. Um, the There is a stunning moment, which we will see again in Sunset Boulevard. There is a stunning moment in the film, and it's interestingly handled. The camera remains on Alma's face, but we hear Vogler speak. We hear her say something like, "You should go to bed." Alma's reaction to that moment, and it's not, and the fact that they don't show Vogler speaking, we just hear Vogler speak, makes it hard to know. Did we, like, because Alma's like not sure she heard that, and we're not sure we heard that. It's surprising. It's a really shocking moment. It's usually think if she was going to say something, it'd be like a big deal. It'd be very, something really dramatic. But it's just like really a simple little, you should go to bed kind of thing. Vogler says something, and it's Alma's reaction is totally fascinating. Alma basically ignores her. And then she kind of repeats what Vogler said to her as if it was an idea she just had. Like, oh, I should go to bed. But Vogler said to go to bed. And this is a dramatic moment where the patient, you're almost a nurse, and she has a patient who has refused to speak any longer. And then suddenly the patient says something, and Alma, this should be a major breakthrough moment, right? This is a moment where in the treatment of Vogler that could really, it's a breakthrough. She can now talk to each other, and she's really going to be able to cure this patient. And Alma ignores her. And first of all, she treats it like a thought coming into her own head, like, oh, I should go to bed. As if nobody said that to her, she just thought it to herself. So on the one hand, there's that blending of women. There's the fact that that Vogler's voice feels like a voice inside Alma's head. But another thing that's going on there is Alma just straight up ignores that Vogler spoke. Why? Because Alma is so happy being listened to, and she doesn't want to give it up. We will see this kind of thing pop up again in Sunset Boulevard, again in Mulholland Drive. This idea that where people choose to be deceived, because Alma really likes her life with the silent Vogler. And if Vogler starts speaking, that's going to change. And so she just ignores it. And she wants to carry on. Even though maybe that's not what she should be doing. She wants to just carry on in the way that she likes the house where Alma can do all the talking and Vogler has to listen to her. Okay. And it's just an amazing moment because it speaks to the way in which people want to be tricked. They want to be fooled. They want to live in a world of illusion. Again, that's what film is. That's what film does, right? These films aren't real. They're fictional, but you get so obsessed with them that if somebody goes, yeah, it's not real, you go, yeah, but still, and you keep talking as if it was real, right? You keep talking as if so there are people, for example, in superhero shit who will be trying to figure out the physics of superhero powers. And then people go, it's not real, right? And they go, yeah. And then they keep talking about it as if it was real. There's something like that going on with Alma, where Vogler speaks and she's just like, yeah. And then she just continues on as if Vogler never said anything at all. Okay, and then in the middle of the movie, we get the truly disturbing moment, which is the letter. Alma goes out and reads the letter, and it is absolutely psychologically fucking horrific. Vogler is not sick. She is not ill. There is nothing wrong with her. She's staying silent on purpose because she wants to go to the mental hospital and study the nurse. Why does she want to study the nurse? Because she's an actress, and what actresses do is study other people and then use what they learn in their job. So this is absolutely horrific because Alma has given up her deepest, darkest secrets to a woman who she thought was a good listener, who cared about her. Again, why did she think that Vogler cares? Because when someone is silent, the other person can just believe whatever they want to believe about you. And what Alma wanted to believe was, this is a person who's listening to me because they love me. They're listening to me because they care about me. But it turns out that Vogler is a horrible person who is using Alma to further her career. Oh my God. It is absolutely horrible. And one of the things that makes it horrible is that first of all, Vogler, it does seem a little. One of the relationships between the two women that's possible is it feels like they're lovers. But then in the letter, Vogler says, "Oh, the nurse seems like she's smitten with me. She's got a little bit of a crush on me." Oh my God, this was a special relationship. Alma thought. But Vogler talks about it like, Vogler talks about Alma like she's a kid with a crush, but this is a pretty intense relationship, and that's a pretty upsetting thing to say. But what's really horrible is that the core pain, the most painful experience in Alma's life, which she told Vogler, sort of, again, in confidence, but because she assumed and believed that Vogler loved her, because she's believing what she wants to believe and she's seeing what she wants to see, because that's what happens when you give someone silence. They fill the silence with whatever they want. They project their own meaning onto it. That she's taken the most painful experience in Alma's life and she has just written it down in a letter and told somebody else. Like it was nothing. Like, oh, isn't that an interesting detail I learned about this nurse? I'm going to use that in my acting career. Now that I've studied this person, I'm going to turn them into a character for a play. I mean, that means that Alma's secret could, for example, show up in the middle of a stage play, or the movie Persona, which we're currently watching. But it's like, imagine if your deepest, darkest secret got used as a plot point in a movie, and then everybody who went to see the movie would know the deepest, darkest secret that you have, a sexual secret about pleasure, about illicit sex, rape even. It's a pregnancy and abortion, and it's this incredibly scandalous thing. This happens a lot in modern day society, where frequently people's texts or pictures, nude pictures of themselves, or their sexual desires, people will publicly release them. Sometimes it's revenge. Revenge porn is a thing where, maybe you take pictures or video of yourself having sex with somebody else because you think it's fun, and then the other person decides after you break up, they're so angry that they send your videos of you having sex to your parents and your friends, and this is like an incredibly disturbing thing to happen. Because it's your most intimate self has been exposed. And it's just people are going to be talking about it and making fun of you. And I mean, it's a horrific violation of trust. It's why, by the way, therapists are not allowed in most circumstances, unless you say you're going to commit a crime. They're not really allowed to say to anybody. I'm sure you've all seen cop shows where the cops will go to the therapist, or they'll go to a priest who received confession. And they'll be like, what did that guy tell you? And they're like, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to tell you that. That would violate lawyer-client confidentiality, or priest the confidentiality of the confessor, or the confidentiality of the therapist, because these are the only way the system works is if people believe their secrets will be kept, and Vogler doesn't give a shit about that. So it's an incredibly upsetting thing, and that is when one of the most interesting things in film history really happens. Alma is so angry and so upset and in such a rage. She has the whole thing with the broken glass in the ground to make her step on it and whatever. Alma is so upset, and this is such a fascinating moment. The film she is in, and you'll see, there's shades of Lost Highway in here in Mulholland Drive. We haven't gotten to Mulholland Drive yet, but Lost Highway's like this. It's like Alma's so angry that the film you are watching cannot contain her anger, and it burns. She literally burns a hole in the film. Now, film, by the way, is very flammable. If you've seen Inglourious Basterds, you know this. And sometimes if the bulb is too hot, it will set the film on fire. And when we go to see movies nowadays, they're projected digitally. But what's happening with but in the old days, they used to run actual film through a projector with a bulb that would project it. What's interesting here is that if you were seeing this movie in theaters in 1966, you might believe that the actual film caught fire behind you and that you should leave the theater because something just is on fire and you can't watch the movie anymore because it's on fire and broken. The projector's broken or something. And nowadays, when you watch something on digital, that that's not happening. It's not going to happen. But it's one way. Boy, the car is loud. Okay. But one way of thinking about this is that the movie itself can't contain Alma's rage and anger and hurt and pain, and that it breaks the movie she's in. We saw something like that in Lost Highway, where the movie itself, in Blue Velvet, crazy things happen to Kyle MacLachlan, but the movie follows a basic, first this, second this, third this. But in Lost Highway, it hits a level of intensity where the movie itself no longer functions like a movie and starts breaking apart, looping in on itself and doubling back in weird ways. There's something like that here with Alma, where her rage is so much that the film cannot contain it. Okay, we'll pick it up in the next video.